Yo, what's up, YouTube? Got a 2000 Mercury Cougar right here for a customer. She wanted me to do a whole bunch of work to it, but I'm gonna do alternator change. I've seen some videos online about how to change it, so I wanted to do something more in depth. See right there, there's an alternator. The top bolt is right there under the valve cover. You can see it pretty clear right there. Hey, this car, so it's not charging. So I'm gonna run through all the systems too and check everything while we do this tutorial. So first thing I'm gonna do is take off the battery cable. Everybody should know how to do that. So I'll be right back. All right, so we got the battery cable off. Guess I'll go ahead and tackle this top bolt first since it's here. These are the tools I'm gonna use. I got my voltmeter. I got my, I don't know how long that thing is, but I got my extension, a little swivel right here. My 13mm wrench, and then of course my 13mm socket. So really this is all I'm gonna use, and I got a pry bar too to kind of pry the alternator out. So start with this top bolt, start with this 13 here. I'm also gonna take my extension and my ratchet, kind of help me out. So here we go. Top bolt, really not too difficult. Gonna get down in here. I showed it to you before. Where is it at? Sorry, I'm trying to get you guys the best picture possible. All right, so top bolt. Oh shoot. All right, top bolt is right here. So all I'm gonna do is take my ratchet or take my wrench, put it on there and break it, and then I use my ratchet to get it the rest of the way out. The reason I do it that way is because the ratchet, because it's so long, doesn't really have as much room to move as the wrench. So once I get it going, we'll start back up. All right, so I got my wrench on there, and just kind of loosening everything up right now. Nice and easy, just taking my time with it. And this bolt is actually pretty loose, so I think I can get the rest of it with my hand. But if you can't, you can always stick a ratchet down here. If you have an air ratchet will work too. But this top one really isn't the problem. It's pretty simple to get to. And after we do this top bolt, we'll go ahead and get the belt. So, be right back. All right, so now that we got the top bolt out, I'm gonna go ahead and do the belt. I probably should have done this first. Apologize for the video quality. But all I did is stick a 3/8 drive ratchet down here. Let me see if I can clear that up. Hopefully you guys can see that pretty well. Man, it's not getting clear. There it is. So there's a 3/8 drive hole down here. All you gotta do is get a ratchet, stick it in there, and I'm gonna break it from the bottom because it's easier for me. And once you get the ratchet in there, and this one is a problem because it has a button on the back, but no issues, I'll take care of it. You get a regular screwdriver. It's got to be pretty flat to get in here, because this space, it doesn't give you a lot of space. Anyway, got it in there, then we'll go down to the bottom and I'll show you how to finish that up. So let me get you a better picture of what that looks like. This is from the top. So basically at this point, I'm done at the top. Everything else we'll do is from the bottom. All right, YouTube, so I'm down here at the bottom. Just real quick, of course, I took the tire off. First thing I did. The next thing I did is I moved the tie rod end out. Because what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to get the alternator out of place. So it's a bolt right here. I used the impact, took it off, moved it out the way, and that allows me access to the alternator, which is right there. So now to take off the belt, I got an old jack handle that I use here. I put it on my ratchet just to give me some leverage. Trying to do this with one hand, so please forgive the video. Pull down and release the belt. which is right here. Hold on, let me turn my flash on. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so let's see if I can set this down. I'll kind of show y'all what I'm doing here. There we go. All right, so you see the belt. Release tension on the belt by pulling the jack handle down. I'm just gonna move the belt out the way. And the belt's gone. And I'm just gonna leave my jack handle in there because when I put it back on, I don't have to worry about resetting it or anything. So now I've got clear rein to the alternator here. It looks like somebody's been in here before. That alternator looks fairly new. So we'll check it out. But anyway, we'll get to this rear bolt. This rear bolt, you can, if you get under here, you can see it right there in the corner, right there. That's the rear bolt. And the only way to really get to it is from the other side of the car, on the other side of the exhaust with an extension and a swivel. So we'll get to that. But before I do that, got a few pieces of housekeeping to take care of back here. We got 3 wires that we got to remove. You got your stator wire or your sensor wire. Let me get the better bit. Your sensor wire. You got your wire from the battery, which is your big red one, and then you have your voltage regulator wire. So I'm gonna loose those. The wire from the battery is a 10, so I get a 10 and I'll take that one off, and then the other 2 just kind of clip out. It's real easy. So I'll get those taken off, and then we'll get that bolt. So the whole reason, really the major reason I removed the battery cable was because of where this wire is. You get in here with a ratchet or anything and try to take this wire off, and this metal ratchet hits any of this metal and that battery cable's not loose, you're gonna have all kind of sparks. So anytime you really work on the car and you're removing stuff, it's probably just a good practice just to remove the battery cable. I mean, it can't hurt nothing. You might have to reset your clocks and stuff, but it's better to be safe than sorry. All right, so we got the battery wire off. Move that out the way. Okay, and then so this car, somebody already did the 3-wire conversion, which is what this wire is, and I'll explain that more once I get the alternator out. And then we'll get the other 2 wires off here real soon. All right, so I decided to leave the other 2 wires hooked up because it looks like they've been elongated, so I could probably get them easier when I pull the alternator off. So to get to that belt, I'll give you a view of the car. You have your alternator, which is here, right? And then if you look under the car, you have your exhaust. Under your exhaust, and this one's kind of messy, so forgive me. Under your exhaust, you have this little area right here. So if you run an extension through that area, you should be able to reach the back of the alternator. So mind you, that's going to be between the CV axle from the driver's side and the engine block. This engine block is really dirty. It's got an oil leak, but we'll get the valve cover gaskets and the oil pan gasket changed too. So I'm going to stick this in here and we'll come right back. All right, y'all. So as you can see here, I've got my ratchet. I've got my extension going through the hole I told you about. And then if we look up here, where it's connecting to, we are right on the back bolt of the alternator. All right, so hopefully I can give you a better viewpoint. I'm all the way on the other side of the exhaust. I got my swivel and my extension on the bolt. There's the hole we went through. Let me back it up a little bit so you can see, kind of hopefully give you a better picture of how I did it. This for me is the easiest way that I found to do it. I'm sure there's other people out there that have done it other ways, but whatever I do right now is what made it easier for me. So we're going to get this off. It's real easy at this point. All you got to do is take your ratchet and take it off, and then get the alternator out. All right, so I got one more thing here. So whoever took this car apart before didn't put a bolt back. If you look up here, there's a black bracket on the back of the alternator. Let me see if I can point to it. kind of give you a better vantage point. No, I can't. Anyway, if you look at the alternator, there's a black bracket. There's a 10 bolt that's supposed to go into the alternator. So I'll make sure when I put it back in that I replace that bolt. Like I said, whoever did this before didn't put it back in. So you also have to get that bolt out. That should be real easy. Actually, yeah, you just use your same 10 ratchet that you use for your bolt, the alternator to battery wire, and you can just pull that one right out. So alternator should fall out now. We'll go ahead and go up front. So like I told you, I got my pry bar here. Let's get it in here. Move it out. Oh, we got it loose. Shake it a little bit. It's in here really tight. So if you shake it a little bit, just kind of work it back and forth, you should be able to get it out. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna need both of my hands for this one, so see if we can make something happen here. All right, let me get my pry bar in here. Oh yeah, there it is. Got my pry bar up top, was able to shake it out. So getting it out of here, all you gotta do is tilt it backwards and then push it forward. And so this is why you move the tie rod in, because it falls right out. And now we can take care of the little 2 bolts on the back. I said it looks like they've been elongated. So in order to show you what I'm doing, and I'm actually pulling them right now, which is not good. So let me turn this around, which I have room to do now. All right, so we got this clip right here. That's the harness from the factory. That goes to the voltage regulator. So you gotta pop this little pin off. Pop that little clip off. And then that should pop right off. Let me use my other hand. So that pops right off. And we'll go through this here in a second. So we got that one out. Then you have your stator wires, sensing wires, got a bunch of names, but this wire right here, it has to come out. So I'm gonna just take my screwdriver and pop up on this clip here. Oh shoot, I broke it. That's all right, I gotta replace it anyway. But when you're taking this clip out, everything down here is pretty nasty, so just be careful with it. So I got those off, and here's my alternator. So as I told you, there's a 3-wire conversion that you see online, and basically what that is looking at this clip here. If you turn it facing the car, facing the rear of the car, it should be the bottom. The bottom should be constant 12 volt. The middle should be, let me see if I remember this correctly. So the middle should be switched on when the car switches on. And the top, you know what? Let's just go ahead and test it. That'll probably be the easiest thing to do. And this is where your voltmeter comes in. So what you want to do now, you want to make sure that your wire that comes from the battery, it's got this little boot on it. So all I'm gonna do is just cover it up with this boot, and I'm gonna stick it into place, probably right behind here, since this is rubber that it can't hit. And at that point, I know that nothing down here will spark or touch the battery. So I just stuck it right here on the CV axle boot, because that's plastic, and I brought the little cup over the top so that it won't hit anything. It's really important that whenever you're doing anything down here, that wire does not touch any metal, because if it does, it's going to spark, cause a lot of issues that we really don't want. Like I said, somebody's been down here before, and so let me do a couple things, get my voltmeter, and we'll come back. All right, so I got this image from justanswer.com, So basically, the bottom one, like I said, is voltage supplied at all times. And then that AC power. So that should be hot at all times. And then voltage ignition switch starts. So when you turn the car to run, that top pin should get power. So those are the first three things I'm going to check. And the 3-wire conversion is basically taking this wire right here, cutting it from the harness and running it to the back of the alternator where your wire from the battery goes. So you'll have 2 wires on there instead of 1. So you just put a little loop on it and you'll stick it on there. And I'll show you how they did that here. So this wire here, see, if you place it the same way as the bottom wire, they put a loop on it, and then it just connects to this wire here that goes to the battery. So I guess what that does is it just gives you a constant, 12 volts at all times versus the PCM regulating the power. So I believe that that's the 3-wire conversion. These harnesses, you can get them from your Ford dealer or AutoZone, and you just have to tap into the wires. I see right here I got one exposed that I got to clean up. So whoever did this before, they tried, but we're gonna make that look a lot better before we put everything back together. All right, so right now I got my voltmeter. I just need to find the ground, and I'm gonna use this pin that the muffler hangs on. And the way I test if it's a good ground is I already know that I got constant power down here to this wire coming from the battery since I hooked it back up. So when I hit that, I look at my voltmeter. I don't know if you can see it, I got 12.57 volts. So that means that that's a good ground. And I know that my wire coming from the battery to the alternator is definitely getting power. That's also a way you could check the main fuse. So see here, if you look up in here, follow that wire, there's a fuse back there. It's a 175 amp fuse, I believe. It's rare that it goes out, but I heard it does go out. So if you're not getting this voltage down here, then that fuse is probably blown. All right, so what we'll do here is I'll run this wire into here. I'm sorry, not that one. I'll run this wire into here temporarily, and I use the rubber boot to kind of hold it in for me without exposing it to any metal. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so yeah, I just ran the wire up in there so that it's touching, and now I can come down here to my harness and kind of test out what everything is. So here we have the harness. So we know from here, let me reset that, move these wires out the way. All right, so we know from the computer, this bottom one here should be supplied from the battery at 12 volts, so we're good there. This middle one should be constant power, so we're good there. So those two are good. So we got battery, we got coming from the alternator wire, and we got coming from the PCM. I believe it's coming from the PCM. It could be another power source, but it's supposed to always be power. That's AC power. So now if I check this third one, there shouldn't be any power to it, right? Because it's only supposed to be on when the car is on. And the other thing I check is this trigger wire right here. This is the other wire I took out. I'll check it because it should not have any power also when I touch it. Hold on. All right, so I guess this trigger wire is constant 12 volts at all times. I don't think it should be, but that's something I have to check into the wiring here in a minute and try to figure it out. So let me go turn the switch of the car on, and when I do, this top pole right here should read up at about 12.5 volts. So right back.